edited, tell the truth, and shame the devil. I love being black. Excuse me. Excuse me, people. All right, come on in. We are fin to have our program. Scoot on over. All right. As we know, Reverend Jesse Jackson died today. All right, one of our civil rights icon. And we want to talk about it today. All right. We want to make it clear today. We're going to talk about some of his memories and some of you guys' memories with him. I know a lot of you guys knew him personally. You've taken pictures with him here in the city of Chicago. So we give condolences to the family, friends, followers. All right. Reverend Jesse Jackson has died. Chicago live reaction to it. We're going to talk about Jesse Jackson. We're going to talk about his impact on Chicago national politics. We're going to talk about the reactions from the community, from the street community. We're going to talk about what his work meant for civil rights and social justice. All right. We definitely going to, a few of the things that we want to talk about. And we're going to keep the call lines open. Let me put the number up. And we definitely want to talk about Jesse Jackson today. All right, put the numbers up. And we can't tell it all now. We get on here, we tell the truth and shame the devil. Now, take in mind, no man that God has ever made, but two that was perfect. Well, one is Christ himself. And the Bible said they called Job perfect. The Bible said he was a perfect and an upright man and eschewed evil. So we want to talk about tonight. Let's get rolling tonight. We're going to talk about Jesse Jackson. There he is on the screen. And those of us that live here in Chicago, those of us that used to live here in the city of Chicago, we know a lot. We definitely know a lot. All right. We definitely we're taking calls 872-299-0808 or 872-297-6389. All right. We want to talk about Reverend Jesse L. Jackson. All right. He said, I am somebody. I am somebody. All right. Remember the slogan, Operation Push come on Saturday mornings. Remember when I was a little boy? Yes, a little boy. It's all over now. I always tell people how you live in this world is how you're going to die. It's how you're going to die. It's how you're going to die. Yeah. It's how you live, how you're going to die. Mm-hmm. All right, come on in. 872-297-6389. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. Jesse Jackson. All right. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Come on in. We got one call already. Yeah. Yep. Breaking news. All right. Let's get right into it.
Roosevelt.
We got Mr. Roosevelt. And Mr. Roosevelt's going to tell us about Jesse, what is his thoughts and that he have. Mr. Roosevelt, I appreciate you calling in, and we want to talk about Jesse, his impact on Chicago, national politics. We want your reaction, and also We need to know what his work meant for civil rights and social justice. And we're going to start off with you, Mr. Roosevelt. Come on, Mr. Roosevelt.
Oh yes, not going to be before y'all too long, but I would have to say that today, even though some of us, because I guess you're never going to agree with everything, everybody says or feels or, views on everything, but I still have to say the passing of Jesse Jackson, I think it has, affected, us as black people and Chicagoans and even me, to him, I'm not going to say how, we're related as a brother, so to speak, or
Mm-hmm.
fraternity brother, so to speak. I think affects us, greatly because, he did do a whole lot for civil rights in Chicago
Mm-hmm.
and across this country. Sometimes I just wish that, Operation Push and Operation Breadbasket. I know it was something that for the needs of black people. Sometimes I just wish it would have stayed all that way and everything instead of catering much more to the needs of LGBTQ and now to the needs of illegal migrants. I think it should still be for black people only, but I don't know. But maybe with that whole lesson, or like maybe what he taught, will also pick or have us maybe pick up the baton and actually do something much more. And sure, him and my mother, they were born in the same year. My mother is September 1941, and they said that he's October of 1941. And I have to say that he has, I guess it's like a legacy or something that's going to be left. It's just a shame that some of our, old people and old trailblazers are just be slowly, but surely beginning to go in. It's almost like, whether you agree with them or not, whether they're perfect or not, or whatever like that, or whatever differences that we might have, it's just sad whenever we just like see it happen, another trailblazer go in because it just seems like the youth or the people of today are not doing like what they did back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, at this point, I don't know if we'll ever have another Jesse Jackson. I don't know if we'll ever have another Al Sharpton. I don't know if we'll ever have another Malcolm X or Louis Farrakhan because, the generation today is just everything's just completely different than it was even 20 to 30 short years ago when I was much more younger. So it's just a shame to see some of our trailblazers are beginning to pass off the scene. But it's like what you said that sometimes sure as we are living, you can best believe that we're not meant to stay or something. All of us have to leave here one day, and I guess that's just the time, even though it's unfortunate, like when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so could you tell me in your own words what Jesse Jackson meant to you coming up,
Well, I
growing up?
found him, like I
Mm.
said, you know what? I guess it's still growing up with something I couldn't develop an appreciation for certain things because sometimes you hear certain things growing up when you're a kid, it seems boring or kind of far away to you, but you develop a little bit more of an appreciation for things like that as you get older and you begin to see the work that they do. And even when you get a chance to meet them personally, because I get a chance to say a quick hello and a handshake with him back, I don't know if you remember it, in 2015 during the Laquan McDonald protest in downtown Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He came through with something, and shook everybody's hand real quick. And even when there was a protest, maybe I think he was at this one. I think me and you was at this one. It was around 71st and Jeffrey, back around like 2020 or 2021. Back when COVID was still going on. He saw me, I saw him or something. We, couldn't shake hands and everything then, but he gave me a nice fist bump. So, you remember, like little stuff like that. I mean, plus, you hold on to that. And plus, today, and one thing I can say about that day, I had my camera on me. And I know I got them around here someplace on my hard drive, but I know I took a lot of pictures that day. So I
Mm.
think that he's in some of them. So,
Okay.
that's stuff that even though it was a short time, just shaking hands and giving him a fist bump, there's still stuff looking at it personally that I will still cherish forever.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Roosevelt. Let me go to the next caller.
Yes.
0904. 0904.
Hey, Martin, it's me.
Hey,
It's
how are
me.
you? Oh, hey.
Okay.
Yeah. You was calling me the same time I was
Hey,
on live. Yeah, go
Mark.
ahead.
I
Go ahead.
didn't know. I didn't know. I
Okay.
didn't know. Hey, yes, Doctor. Well, Jesse Jackson. I
Hey,
want
Dr.
to give.
Sanders.
Hey, how are you? How are you? I want to give my prayers and condolences to the Jackson family. One of the young men was his caregiver. One of his caregivers, Christopher Hodges. I personally met Jesse Jackson for the first time, and Martin, you know I'm finna go there, when Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday became the national holiday. He came to Dr. Martin Luther King Junior High School where Mother Coretta Scott King was there. Glenn Jones made a song dedicated to Jesse Jackson called I Am Somebody. And I met him again just a few years ago. We shook hands and he remembered my face and everything. But one of the things I love about Jesse Jackson is that he stood up and he opened his mouth. He didn't take down, of course, he's been on television several times, but he loved his people. He experienced a lot of things during his political career. You know, even if you remember around the time of Chavez, remember that he went there with Chavez. That was the biggest controversy. But the thing about it is that he did a lot more than what a lot of people give credit for, especially those generations that were not born. That same year, I do remember him giving that he went to Medgar Evers University, or college at that time. I remember hearing him then doing the commencement speech. He's one of us,
Mm-hmm.
and he did not take down. He's one of us, and he loved his people. He's been through a lot in his life fighting for justice for everybody, but especially for us. He didn't even have a problem with trying to, run for president. That's a bold man. So
Mm-hmm.
I give honor and respect to him during his days of being able to show us, because like I said, a lot of the generations under us, they have no clue. For us to live through that time with Harold Washington, with our other mayor that stepped in, Sawyer, there was a lot of love. They didn't fight one another. One thing about it, he wasn't going to stand there and duke down and want to shoot you. He was trying to stop all of that. And that's what a lot of the generation don't understand. So to me, he stood as a man in the activism. And I was explaining this to someone earlier. I said he was not a pastor. He spoke like a minister, and obtained that reverend title because he spoke openly, about everything that plagued our world. He had no problem of going up against the presidents, whether they was white, pink, yellow, green. He did that, and he set a stage. And that is what he meant to me, having to meet him a couple of times. I loved, we graduated from Rainbow Push.
Mm-hmm.
And we Dr. Martin Luther King High School, my class, we were there singing, Lord, lift us up where we belong. And my heart grieves because he said something. And I give accolades again to Glenn Jones that did a song for him to listen to that said, I am somebody, no matter what I am, no matter who I am. If I'm rich, if I'm poor, if I'm broke, if whatever. He said, I'm still somebody. And so his legacy leaves us to trailblaze that to the next generation so they can learn how to listen. And he took the time to listen. He took the time to hear. Your show, Martin, is really, and I'm not trying to score no brownie points with you, but this type of show is something that Reverend Jesse Jackson would do in his heyday, because this is something that he wants everyone to understand. It's an educational tool. So that's what he meant to me. My prayers are for the family and his wife, Jacqueline. I met her because he actually supported my late cousin, Mother Betty Price. She took pictures with him back in the time she had the FCHN. So he meant a lot to my family, and I always remember I am somebody, Reverend
Mm-hmm.
Jesse L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. We're going to go to the next caller. The next caller, I believe, is Old Timer. Is that you, Old Timer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you for bringing the show on tonight. And yes, I think we can all pay proper homage to the Reverend, good works that he did, and you know, um,
What happened, old timer?
his work, his work, his work speaks for himself. And he did, he said, and he did, and he helped so many people, and not just in Chicago, but all in the outlying areas. He was, his work spread um, all in the northern suburbs up this way, and I had a chance to meet him. I guess was with his son at the Dreamers Breakfast last month. Um, the one that's just getting back into politics.
Okay.
He took some pictures with him, and I was at the breakfast. We spoke, and I'll just say that he's going to be missed, and people should just look at what he did. And
can you tell me some of the can you tell me some of the things that he's done?
Well, he uplifted humanity. He uplifted humanity.
By doing what? By doing what?
By giving them reason, the hope. When you think that you can't make it, and a person tells you that you're somebody, then you have to. That gives you strength to run on, and you won't forget that. So that's what he did. He gave hope unto dying people that didn't have any hope. And the person tell you that you have hope, you can when you're going down, you can say, "Well, I am somebody," and that's enough to help pull you back up. And I just say this here. I didn't know. My mother told me one time. She told me, she said, "You worth more than $1 million," and I was a child when she told me that. And I said, "I'm worth more than $1 million?" She said, "Yeah," and I still believe that up to this day. She told me those words still ring, and what the Reverend said, that helped millions of people, millions. Those words alone to say I am somebody. That right there is enough to help a person, go on and have hope that all is not lost, or nothing is not lost. You can believe in God and believe in yourself.
Old timer,
go ahead.
You've been around quite a while. Can you tell me something historical that Jesse have done?
Well, I mean, his social movements, his impact, his social movements that he had is still far-reaching. I mean, it's social movement is just enough by itself, and he had a movement that helped the downtrodden be lifted up. I mean, he's a voice. He was voice. Is a voice for the voiceless.
Old timer, I'm ashamed of you. You should better tell me something Jesse have done. Can you point out something?
Well,
tell me something historical. Give me something historical that he's done.
Well, I mean, he outside him running for the presidency.
That's historical.
I just have to say
that's historical.
Yeah. I remember when he ran for the presidency. Yeah, I remember back in the 80s, and he ran for the presidency, and against all odds, he took up on ran against the establishment that didn't think that he had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't think that he had a chance, but he showed that that if you willing to do something, that you can stand up against the powers. And he almost could have won the nomination had it not been for people being racist against him. He had a good message, and he was a freedom fighter.
And Donald Trump backed him in that, did you? You know that, didn't you?
I heard what Trump said about him, and Trump, surprisingly he came out in defense of him today. Mm-hmm. But that's when sometimes When you can't do nothing but tell the truth, then the truth is stand by itself. And that's what happened. He has a lot of truth with him that he did. It's too bad that people have to wait until he dies to try to show for it. Because at this point in time, people right now that want black people to be associated with Dr. Reverend Jesse Jackson. They don't want them to be associated with Al Sharpton. They don't want them to be associated with Louis Farrakhan. So we don't have those voices right now to help our people because people say, well, they just out there for the clicks. They're just out there to get TV time and they just want to be on the film. They'll put this in black people's mind and we taking it and run with it. So now that he's gone, there's going to be less of a voice. There's going to be less of a voice that you have that can ring and actually stand up against the powers that be. I mean, Jesse Jackson walking in the room, that's going to change everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let me go to the next caller.
Yes, sir.
Let me go to the next caller. Thank you.
All right.
All right. I think that's Marcus. Hey, Marcus. Marcus.
Hey, Martin. Yeah. All right. I've had the opportunity to go where most people couldn't go. And I photographed Jesse Jackson. I have been an assistant photographer for Jesse Jackson, and I got to meet him. I actually really had a one-on-one talk with him back in 2008, I believe, when he noticed me, how I would take pictures. And he called me in the back room and he said, I noticed how you shoot for Ron Holt and how you know when to stop and when to start, and he doesn't have to tell you. So he made an offer. He asked me, would I come work with them? And I said, yes. And Jesse, to me, I had heard a lot of rumors about him, but my experience with Jesse Jackson was a wonderful one. In fact, the entire Jackson family treated me with the utmost of respect. They're down-to-earth people. Jesse Jackson was a down-to-earth person. And to see him out there marching with us during the Laquan McDonald, he was out there in that protest. He went downstate when the kid the college student got drowned in the river. He marched even while he was sick. He marched. And I watched how they was holding him up and how he wouldn't quit. He was there for everything that he needed to be there for. And it's not many people like him around. And I know that there are some black people that don't like him, but those are the people that hasn't had the opportunity to come into contact with him, to have a conversation with him. Bush was open for anybody who wanted to go over there. He fed people. They fed people. And they didn't give you no crappy food. They gave you the good stuff. He made sure you got fed. Not only got a food basket, but got a hot meal. He was doing a lot of stuff that didn't hit the news. He was fighting. And I witnessed this with my own eyes. He gave a lot of black people a chance. If you was coming over there and he seen what you was doing, pardon, he would have given you a chance. That's the type of person he was. And it's a shame that we don't give people their roses before they die. We always wait till they die to talk about them. And I'm not making up no type of stories. I have shaken his hand. I have had a conversation with him. I got the pictures to prove it. You know, my friend is his head photographer, and I've assisted my friend. And Jesse knows me. He had been knowing me for a while, seeing me coming and going with people, and noticed me. He gave me a chance, and I respect that. Mm-hmm. You know, if my friend wasn't around and I could be out there in the street, they grab me. Hey, you, Reverend, want his picture taken? Okay, no problem. So, and his wife is a great person too. Jonathan Jackson, they're great. Jesse Jackson Jr., a great person. I don't care what nobody say about them. Hey, Rumors are rumors. This man did what a lot of people could not do and wasn't going to do. And speaking of what he did in my lifetime, he ran for president. He helped a lot of black politicians in this city get what they had today. And he went overseas and did what the white people could not do. He negotiated and got hostages released from Yugoslavia. You remember that?
I remember.
He negotiated. He did that during the Clinton administration. So that's something that he did historical too.
Mm-hmm.
But he helped black people. And Bush, again, he had it where Bush had a lot of programs over there for people to get involved. He helped a lot of black people in this city and across this country. He moved and stuff went on in New York. Jesse was on the plane. He was there. That's who he was. And I hope that the young people take note and quit saying we are not our ancestors, because our ancestors endured the worst of the worst that we probably couldn't have endured. They endured it. Some of you all on this live are much older than I am, and you lived it. You lived it, so you know what I'm talking about. So I would be disrespecting you by saying I'm not my ancestors, because I couldn't have put up with what some of y'all put up with. These white folks got y'all looking down and yes sir, no sir, and all that. I couldn't have put up with that. I hope this young generation take note. This man did the unthinkable. He wasn't God, but he did what God called him to do. And now he's gone home to God. Reverend Jesse Jackson, to the family, we're going to keep hope alive. That's very powerful. Keep hope alive. That goes beyond the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. That ought to be the anthem in our everyday life. Keeping hope alive when we don't feel like getting up out the bed going to work. Remember those words. Keep hope alive. Because we are standing in the shoes of giants. They paved the way. Now we got to make sure the way stay paved.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Brother Marcus. We're going to go to the next caller. I believe that's Be Ready in the building, 214.
Hey, Martin, what's happening?
All right. How you doing, sir? All right.
Kind of melancholy today about this.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. No.
Uh-oh.
No, this is good.
All right, come on.
I remember the first time I saw Jesse Jackson was at a church in Dallas, Texas in 1970. And we had to get there early because he was going to preach. So that was the one and only time I ever had seen the guy in person. And I got to thinking today about, who he was and what he tried to do. So after he stepped off of that landing in 1968 in Memphis, Martin's little organization was a shambles. I mean, these guys were all over the place after Martin. And in my opinion, he kind of made lemons in the lemonade. He found his own niche. He kind of was his own man, and he did his own thing. We know he had to bend over in a lot of places that he didn't want to in order to get things done. And I do believe he, as an individual, registered more black people as voters than anybody else had done in history up until the point he did for his election. I remember 1985 was the first year I was able to vote. And I voted for Jesse Jackson in the primary in Texas. And it made me feel good that he was running, Mm-hmm. I just, when I look over his life, I wish he had ran for an office. Maybe been a senator from Illinois, congressman from Chicago. I really wish because he could have really affected some power, but, he was doing God's work. He had his organizations. Like I said, he carved out his own niche. He kind of did his own thing. And I think that when you look over his career, job well done. Job well done. I'm not gonna talk up under that man's clothes and talk about all the, the stuff that he didn't do right. I'm not gonna cast no stones, but I do believe that for what the position he was when he stepped off that land in 1968 in Memphis and his friend was dead, that he had to find something else to do. He found something else to do. I'll never forget that speech. We used to play it when the radio. A lot of the kids don't know that the black radio stations used to have to go dark at sundown. I remember that time, and the last thing that they would play was his "I Am" speech. I am somebody.
I am somebody. I may be
Somebody,
poor,
that's right.
but I am
That's
somebody.
right.
I may be on welfare, but I am somebody.
That's right.
But
I may be
somebody.
small,
Somebody.
but I am somebody.
But I am somebody.
I am somebody.
All
That's
right.
right. I may be in jail. But
He said, hey, Jesse said, he said, I might have made some mistakes, but I am somebody.
Yeah, he is somebody.
Right. That's right. And so I don't look at what he didn't accomplish. I kind of just look at what he did accomplish. I would say job well done. Either you hurt the process or you help the process, and I think he helped the process.
All right.
I land my plane.
Thank you. I want everybody to please share this video. Like the video, share it. Don't just listen to it. Just share it. That's all. It don't hurt. Share it. Inbox, tag it to someone. I don't care what social media platform that you're on. We're going to the next caller, 281. Hey, caller, 281.
Going on, Martin?
And what's going on?
Man, just listening to B-Red, he just basically took everything out of my mouth I wanted to say, but I'm going to rebut anyway. I remember listening to WVON back in the day, and they played pretty good music, and right around 12 o'clock, Operation Push came on. This is something you can expect every Saturday at 12 o'clock. Operation Push come on, and you were forced to listen to it because I was on the radio at the time to listen to. But very grateful about Operation Push, which eventually turned into called the Rainbow Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to give out free turkeys for Thanksgiving, Christmas. They even helped you with your rent, helped you with your phone bill if you needed that done, clothes for the kids, always a food basket, definitely dinner. I think they did the dinner on Sundays. Do you remember that, Martin? I believe it was on a Sunday they did the dinners. But he said one thing that was anti-Semitic, that we talk about today like it's nothing. And they consider anti-Semitic, and from there on in, everyone tried to drag him down and pull him down. But, we have president in office today that don't have a problem saying worse things than what he said. He only said Jaime Town, and that ain't nothing to be upset over. I mean, people of many different races said things about black folks all the time. They, call us bad names, but he has that stigma. He was a great man. He went and did great things. He's going to be very well missed. I don't know if anybody can ever fill his shoes. The Million Man March. It goes on. You can't. I mean, you can say bad things about him if you want to. I would like to say some things, but this ain't the time and the place. It just really ain't. Like B-Red said, it ain't the time and the place. Now I'm gonna land my plane. Right. Thank you, Reverend Martin. Reverend Jesse Jackson, for all you've done. Thank you.
All right. Last four digits, 7417. 7417. You're the next caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Dr. Rosita calling. Hi, how are you?
Good.
I was listening to the show, and I just wanted people to think a little bit about Reverend Jackson in terms of the little people that he impacted. I went to Operation Push in 2009, and when they were mass firing all the Black teachers, and our union wouldn't help us, nobody would help us. So we said we would go to Operation Push. So I went to Operation Push, and I showed Reverend Jackson with data. And we needed a space to organize and strategize. And Reverend Jackson graciously offered us to meet at Operation Push. And, you know, we met there for 4 years, every Tuesday night, free. We didn't pay a penny. And one of the things, and this was before Karen Lewis, a lot of people don't understand that we were there before this new caucus came in. And it ended up being when Reverend Jackson told us we could meet there. And then he looked at me and he said, I think I've met you before. And he said, were you at my niece's wedding? And I said, yes. I said, yes. And he said, well, do you know my niece? And I said, yes, I do know her, but I was there for my cousin. And he said, your cousin? I said, your niece married my cousin. And then he looked and responded and said, well, then, you family. You know, and that began our way of meeting at Operation Push. And the thing that really I can say about Reverend Jackson, the teachers were devastated. 2 of them passed. They lost their jobs, their livelihood. And we were trying to lift them up. And Reverend Jackson would come in on Tuesday night and talk to them. And Jonathan was there with us every Tuesday night. Now he's congressman now. But I just wanted people to know that it wasn't just the big people, because people were calling in WVON and they were Judge Mathis and all these big name people. But there were many people on the ground, the teachers that were coming there. A lot of times, just by us meeting there, we were able to strategize, and a lot of them were able to retire with their pensions. And I mean, he lifted them. He lifted us when no one else. See, at that time, nobody wanted to hear about it. And they were like, oh, they must have done something. You know, those teachers must be no good, you know. And he was one of the few people that gave voice to our struggle when no one else would, except for Philip Jackson, of course. No one else would even hear or take the time. And you think about that. Here's a man, he didn't have to do anything for us. I mean, here he is an icon. Who were we? A bunch of little unemployed teachers coming in that broke down, crying about their jobs. But he took the time to say, you come here and you work on it and you strategize. And because of that, a lot of them have made it. They retired and they're still alive and doing things. And they needed that at that crucial time in their lives. So I just wanted to say thanks. And I know people have different opinions about Reverend Jackson. I wanted to tell my story and to let people know that, and we left Push, but we did not leave Push because of Reverend Jackson. We left Push because of CTU. They kind of pushed us out. So we left there because we didn't have money and resources, you know, so, you know, that's the way it goes.
Okay.
But I just wanted to share that.
I mean, I appreciate, and you know,
Yeah,
I appreciate you. There's a lot of stories out there. People, we all probably can think of some bad things to say about Reverend Jesse Jackson, but this is no other time, no other place, and I don't think I'm going to allow that on here tonight anyway. If we did, all I want to hear about is her compliment. Go ahead, sister.
And I just want to say, read my book and it's on Amazon. I have 2 books on there, The Literacy Gap. But the book that I wrote it tells the story of us at Push with Reverend Jackson and how everything unfolded with Karen Lewis. You know, I was her Southside regional organizer. This was before Brandon and Stacy came. And all of that in the book. That book is a 30-year history of everything that has happened in education in Chicago. It's over 600 pages. It's on Amazon. It's a history book. So when people ask, how did this happen? It starts from 1995 to 2025. And it's a 30-year anniversary history of everything that happened in education from our perspective on the inside, because a lot of people on the outside looking in. And we just wanted to share that information. You can get it on Amazon. It's called At Rainbow's End. And let me just say briefly before I named that book At Rainbow's End, Ren 2010, because one of my students was murdered when we were the first school that closed. And on the day she had been in my room cleaning up, that weekend, I got home and they were saying, you need to rush to the hospital. She's been shot in the head. Her name was Little Rita Haskins. And when I got back Monday, she had left her last assignment on the desk, and it was called At Rainbow's End. So that's why I named the book. And there is there's a picture of her and her story in the book. And a lot of the letters from my students when the schools were closing. So I just wanted to honor her and get the book. If you have questions about what happened, I have the data in there. Everything is verified. So just get the book. It's interesting. And it does have a lot of pictures of Reverend Jackson, Jonathan, the teachers. It's a lot of pictures in there that you would enjoy.
Okay. Well, thank you for those encouragement words.
So I just wanted to.
I mean, that's, thank you.
Yeah.
In other words, thank you for documenting history in advance. I mean,
Yes.
you telling the story.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I'm documenting the history. So you all be careful. You might find yourself in one of my books.
All right.
In fact, there are a lot of Chicago people in. And the next one I'm writing, I'm doing a book on Chicago organizers.
Okay.
And so we have a lot of great people that I heard Mama Doris the other day, and there are just so many great organizers here. And I wanted to feature them. They're unsung heroes. So that's going to be coming up in my next book. But thank you. Thank you for listening, and we will miss Reverend Jackson. And like you said, no one is perfect, and I think he did a phenomenal job in his life of navigating a lot of very stressful things. Thank you.
All right, people.
Thank you. I'm going
to. Thank you.
Okay.
We're taking. We need
Take
more
care.
callers. People 872-299-0808 or 872-297-6389. We're looking for some callers. You can share some of your experiences with us that you had with the Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. And right now he has passed away early this morning and truly will be missed. And I can remember when he ran for president, and I was hoping with every bone in my body that he would win. I would just happy just to see a black man stand up there and do something.
Yeah.
And dare, you have some black men, they talk it, but they don't walk it. And that man stood up there, and I'm quite sure that he was threatened all types of ways. I know that. So, I mean, just to see him, the first black man in my lifetime that I see run for president, and I was pulling for him too. Oh, I was pulling for him. I really was. I was pulling for him. And I tell you one thing, I thank God for his son, the junior, that he was doing great. I hated that he ran into the trouble that he ran into, but I thought he would probably be the first black president. Personally, that's what I thought. Since the father didn't get it, but I thought the son would get it until he ran into them legal problems. And I was like, oh, wow, what a disappointment. But Jonathan is doing good. I believe his son is running for office again. We'll see how that works. And people, it's real. I remember Jesse Jackson down at Father Flagler Church. I remember him doing the Laquan McDonald. I've seen him many a times. I've never took a picture with him. I took a picture of him, and he was down there marching. You know, people, Jesse and them, they wasn't a Jesse of old. You know, they fought. They was fighters then, but they got old. They got old. They got old people. They got old. God is ushering a new time in now with new, fresh ideas. We might not never have another Martin Luther King. We might not never have another Jesse or Minister Louis Farrakhan or Malcolm X, but we'll have someone that will come in and make an impact on our society. And Jesse Jackson have done that. You know, we often talk about him and Martin Luther King was into it and all that. Well, I will say this, and they probably was. I'm not gonna deny that, but I appreciate the small things that Jesse have done for the small people. Now we know he's done a lot of things on a national scale, a big scale, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it. And I just remember I used to hear all them church songs coming on Saturday. I said, who is this guy? But you know what, people? Operation Push, it fell off. A lot of people aborted it. I don't know why. I was a little boy. You know, the cameras really didn't show a lot of people there, but, you know, it had an angle a certain way, the little choir. I remember the choir sing. So I'm looking forth of going to the funeral. Hopefully I get a seat. I just want to see a lot of black pioneers come in and say their good well wishes, their goodbyes, and to the family and all that. And again, to the family, I give condolence. As I tell anybody, how you live in this world is how you're going to die. Whatever lifestyle you live, that's the way you're going to die. Tell anybody, you can't live a life of a liar and die truthful. You can't live a life of a drunkard and die sober. So how you live in this world is how you're going to die, my friend. No matter how many wonderful things we say about you, it's your life that's really going to tell the story. And that's at the end of the day.
Martin. Martin.
Yes. Yes.
You made a valid point that yes, Jesse Jackson and Dr. Martin Luther King, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., did not always see eye to eye. You're not going to always see eye to eye when you're in this type of movement because each of them had a different personality. Martin preached. Jesse spoke. Malcolm X taught. Fred Hampton executed. So each of the men, all of these men that have gone on before us, had their own way of making one total point. And the point was our people need to come together. And that's their message. And he dealt with a lot of, backlash. Of course, it's what you're never going to always come together. It's like all preachers not going to believe in the same thing. But the main thing that he did, he made sure that our voices were made known and heard. And you remember your time and with him, and I just, I have to say, I'm so glad, Martin, that I was in this lifetime able to see the man that died 3 years after I was born, Dr. Martin Luther, 2 years after I was born, Dr. Martin Luther King. My family, of course, was at Soldiers Field when he was here for the speech. And I would hear and see the little girl, Jesse Jackson pictures, his voice all the time. So he spoke out oratorically, what needs to be done. And that was the thing. He was a speaker. He was an advocate. He was a civil rights movement, in his own way because he was unique. He has some fine curly hair. But, he made a point for our lives in our community. So, when he was running for president, I felt the same way. I cried because I'm like, why did they give it to Jesse? He was on Different World to show togetherness and unity. He was on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you all remember that, when he said, the question is new. So he did a lot for us, despite, the controversial facts and backlash. He stood out there. The SCLC, a lot of folks don't remember that. He's a part of that. After King passed away, then you had Dr. Abernathy stepped in. So it's a lot of things that happened that he set for us. So when you talk about that, Martin, know that we've lived in his lifetime to be able to meet him, have a conversation with him, to support him in our life, that we experienced that. It was sad when, Harold Washington passed. So all of our people that don't know need to know, and I think Roosevelt made a comment where he was saying, Roosevelt, that a lot of young people feel they don't need to, oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because if it wasn't for the old, you wouldn't be where you at right now. And so with him having his own style and unique of going across the world, Venezuela, he done been all the places. And he did like most men would not do. And he had the power to do it. And he was well respected. So I'm in agreement with you 5 times over, Mark. He was a unique and special man and a leader that we'll never forget.
Mm-hmm. I wanna go back to a memory that came to my mind. This is a bad one. You remember when Mike Brown was shot and killed? I believe that was in St. Louis somewhere. A white officer shot and killed him. And I think Jesse went down there in the car, and one of those protesters just nearly just cussed Jesse out. We don't need you. Get out of here. I mean, get on up out of here. I remember they told him that. Also, I remember too doing a Laquan McDonald downtown. There was another local activist here in the city of Chicago was shut Jesse Jackson down too from doing that. And I remember that, I think I had it on recording. I'm not sure, but if it is, it was on my old video on my old page, and he shut him down. And I'm the type of person, when a person is an elder, you try to not go against them like that, make no big fuss, and it's called respect. A lot of people, when Mama Doris come home, she's 81 years old, and out of respect for her, they don't really go back and forth with her. They may not may not agree with everything she says, but for just out of respect, I'm gonna hold my thought. And I see a lot of that, and sometimes we have to be like that with our elders. I think it's a scripture in the Bible said, rebuke not an elder. Is that correct, Dr.
That's
Sam?
it.
Okay, I just want to make
right.
sure.
That's
Okay,
right.
I still got it in me, huh? Hey, so that's where I look at certain things. So I do have some memories, some good memories, and have some when I remember when Jesse Jackson and Minister Louis Farrakhan, a lot of our politicians was at a table, and Jesse was saying we winning, but Louis Farrakhan came behind him. He said, "I beg the difference," and man, Louis lit it up. Jesse got quiet. But one thing I can say, when Minister Louis Farrakhan was sick, anytime that he would go in the hospital, Jesse Jackson would go and see him. That's one thing I will say that. Now, we know we've heard different rumors about him.
Respect.
Yeah, we heard different rumors about taking money and to be quiet. And it's just so much. But, this man, Reverend Jesse Jackson, is going down in the history books, like it, love it, or hate it. No matter what you say or think, he's in the history books. He's in the history books.
Yes, he is.
So,
yes, he is.
No matter what we say.
He even went to go see Tupac.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was. You remember? He went to go see Tupac in the hospital.
Yeah.
Martin, by
Yeah, I
the way,
remember that. Mm-hmm.
by the way, that happened in West Florissant, Missouri, right outside of St. Louis, and you were absolutely right. Mike Brown did get killed in West Florissant, Missouri.
Right. Okay. Because I know they told him.
Martin.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marcus.
He also went to Wisconsin, Kenosha.
Okay.
He was there in Kenosha, Wisconsin, with the Jacob Blake. Also, I want to point out, I think what you were trying to say about Laquan McDonald, when him and Bobby Rush was down there during the Magnificent Mile shutdown, I think it was BY. If I'm correct, BY.
Well, it might have been them, but it was another person that had been on this show, and I didn't want to say their name.
They unplugged the speaker while he was speaking and totally disrespect him. But me having an opportunity to follow Jesse Jackson, I understood his movement, how he moved, and he got things done. He got money. He got what he wanted out of people that refused to give it to other people. He knew how to negotiate and get deals done, and he wasn't even a politician.
Nope.
Nor was he a minister, the type of minister that preaches in a church.
Right, exactly.
But he was a minister of civil rights.
But I remember Dr. Sanders and Marcus, maybe you guys recall, I remember it had to be about 8 years ago, when he got into some airline place or something at the airport. It was like 8 old men out there with some signs. Boy, I laughed so hard. Yeah, I laughed so hard. I said, look at them old men. They were protesting. It had to be like 5 old men. They had their little signs and stuff like that, like they was back in the 60s.
Like what?
Maybe I'm going to look that up. These people, I'm not making fun of Jesse, but these are memorable moments. And I was like, look at these old men. They think they still got it, but guess what? They got the job done, though. They got the job done. So we can say what we want about Jesse. He got the job done. And we know that, well, let me say this. We know that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And that if you in this complaint, if you've been kissed by the sun, and we know there's an enemy out here that don't like you. I don't care how perfect you may be, what your status is in life, they don't like you. Michael Jackson said they really don't care about us. They don't care about us. Yeah, and that is so true.
Nope.
So true. So we have to remember, we have to recognize who our enemy, not just the ones walking around here with them Puchachi masks on and all that. So we got more than that. We got some enemies of our own race, but also we got some that's not a part of our race and hate us. And they know how to be nice to us. They know how to give us trinkets. They know how to say good things about us, but they kissing us to betray us, to kill us like Jesus, like Judas did Jesus. So we had to be careful, people. We had to be careful, and we have to, like our dear sister said, she wrote history in advance already in her book and many pictures. And you know, we live in a society where they'll twist things and turn some stories around and discredit our black leaders. You know? So, and we know Jesse Jackson wasn't perfect. We understand about some of his flaws and everything, but I guarantee you, he done a lot for the black community, a whole lot, maybe more than some of us probably would do in a lifetime. So, yeah, it's real talk.
And you know, Martin, he did not. That man, I have to give it to him. He went around the globe. He went around the globe. He went in places where you literally could get in trouble and get hung. You know, because the Pakistanis don't like us, and they don't like you being a Christian. But he took the approach of going out of the country. You know, Venezuela, you know, and he went all the way out there. He went to Argentina. That man went out of the country. He went to continents and country to still make the point. You know, even with what was that? He was doing with the South Africa, the apartheid. I remember that.
He went to Korea.
Yeah, he was.
He negotiated.
He negotiated. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He brought hostages home.
He sure did.
And the presidents couldn't do it.
See,
so America can't deny that he was. If there were ever an ambassador for this country, Jesse Jackson was that person.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Because he did it. He did what Reagan them couldn't do.
Sure could. Say that
what
again.
Today's presidents can't do. He did what Reagan them could not do. He brought hostages home.
Yes, he did.
And no one is perfect. No one is. King wasn't perfect. They said Rome was about King, Malcolm X, and even Farrakhan. No one is perfect, but we cannot deny that these people have not done it. Jesse Jackson stayed in it. I saw him when he was sick and couldn't get out the wheelchair, and people had to hold him up. He still showed up. He still showed up and spoke till he couldn't speak no more. And he taught his sons to carry that banner on. And I believe that Jonathan Jackson, Yusuf, Jesse Jackson Jr., and their grandchildren are going to carry on that banner. But we, as Black people in this city and in this country, we have to search within ourselves and ask ourselves, what did he mean to us personally? And what can we do to carry on his legacy? We cannot let these people mar his legacy, put dirt on him. It's dirt on everybody. And if they said Reagan was the greatest president in this country, we gonna say Jesse Jackson was one of the best civil rights leaders in our lifetime. And he crossed the barriers of youth. There are young people today that probably like him because he made himself available. People forget that big picnic he used to have right out there in front of Push. That was free. You didn't have to pay to go to that. And he gave you good stuff. He looked out for Black people. We look at Father Mike Flager, how he looked out for Black people. But Jesse, they learned from Jesse. And King.
Dr.
Do you remember when Bill Clinton had that Congressman Mel Reynolds? Y'all remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I want to say this, and if my memory serves me correct, didn't Operation Push help put people in college, Black students? I think they had some type of program. Yeah, I remember it a long time ago.
They did.
But people,
they did.
We're going to hold it right.
They had a scholarship. They had a scholarship program. They had a scholarship program, and then they had grants that was coming in for scholarship programs for Operation Push. But Ronald
That's
Reagan,
why they did the scholarship breakfast.
Ronald Reagan was the president in '84, and he deliberately left that Black pilot stay over in Syria when he got shot down over in Lebanon. And he happened to be a Black pilot. His name was Robert Goodman. He deliberately left that man over there to ride for whatever was going to happen because he wasn't trying to negotiate for him. And Jesse Jackson went over there and got him. Went over there and got him. It wasn't sitting over there for weeks and months and all that other kind of stuff. It was a real quick release.
Okay. We're going to hold it right there.
And they didn't.
We're going to hold it right there. I think B-Red wanted to say something real quick, and I'm going to end it with it. I am somebody. Come on, brother Red. Did you want to say something, B-Red, real quick?
No, I just got knocked myself off. I was just calling back.
All right. Well, let me just say.
It's not a problem.
Okay. I just want to say this in the memory of Jesse Jackson. I forgot his name. Y'all know I'm having a singing moment, huh? Pull this up so we can say it right. Somebody. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be small, but I am somebody. I may have made mistakes, but I am somebody. My clothes are different. My face is different. My hair is different, but I am somebody. I am Black, brown, or white. I speak a different language, but I must be respected, protected, never rejected. I am God's child. I leave that right there with y'all. Y'all already know what it is. Live, uncut, unedited. Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Shame the
I
devil.
love being black. Thank you.
Being black.
Thank you, Reverend Jesse
Love being
Jackson, for your work to the black community. Thank you, the Jackson family, for allowing him to come even when he wasn't feeling well in his body. You guys just pushed around on in a wheelchair, and we appreciate that. Just seeing his face was enough for us. Even, I've seen him a lot of times in the wheelchair. I said, he's getting old. And I remember one time my pastor said, just keep on living. We'll find out too. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Share the video, like it. Please do that. Comment on it. Thank you.